In a world where healthcare often comes with a price tag, some people choose a different path, one not driven by profit but by purpose. Guided by compassion and unwavering commitment to humanity, Dr. Lopamudra founded Breast Cancer Hub, BCH, a humanitarian initiative dedicated to fighting breast cancer and many more different types of cancers through early detection, care, and support. In today's episode, we will explore the journey behind BCH, the challenges, the inspiration, and the powerful belief that healthcare, at its best, is an act of humanity. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lopamudra Das Roy. Namaste, Dr. Lopa.
Namaste, Gauriji.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Kaleidoscope. And thanks for taking out time today in your busy schedule and showing your willingness to come and talk to us about your work, BCH. So thanks so much.
It's my honor, Gauriji. So thank you so much. And I would really want to extend thanks to Smriti Mishra. She connected us, and I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you so much. So Lopaji, tell us about yourself.
I was born in Silchar, and the reason I came to Silchar was my dad. He was a physician, so he was with the medical college. So he was a professor, head of the department, pediatrician. I grew up with my grandfather. I would say my dad's dad, my paternal grandfather, who was also a physician.
Wow, so all doctors in the family,
yeah.
I guess.
And my mom's side are all teachers.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, so my maternal grandfather, and my mom was also a professor, but she resigned after my brother was born.
Oh. So with two doctors in your family, with your mom as a professor, I think so going to medical was not a big surprise.
Honestly, I love science. So STEM was my to-go. I could not have thought of anything beyond science. It can be biology, chemistry, physics, anything, interconnection. And I always wanted to know why.
What was your basic education? Where did you?
Yes, so I did my undergrad and graduate masters in life science with all the different like genetics and cell molecular biology. Then I did my PhD from Assam University, and my PhD was on genetics and molecular biology, in the sense like how the pharmaceuticals, like the drugs, have an impact in the DNA of the cells in the preclinical model. And my work was on ciprofloxacin, which we all use, right? Metronidazole and some other drugs, and how it's affecting the DNA of the cells, the mutagens, how it's causing, and in the long run how it can cause cancer. I had to come to US for my husband because he was with at that time I think IBM Global Services, so he had a project in first time I came was in Chicago, but I went back to India, completed my PhD, and then he moved to in Arizona, in Scottsdale. And that's when I was done with the PhD. I came to Arizona, Scottsdale, and then I joined as a postdoctoral. I did my postdoctoral fellowship on breast cancer and pancreatic cancer metastasis. So that was my, and that kind of enhanced and helped me to get a great grip on, how things function in the more towards the targeted therapy, immunotherapy, and all that.
So you studied in India as well and in US.
Yes.
So you got the, I think, best of both worlds.
I also mixed in between. I also did my as I was a research scholar at Delhi University in the Department of Biochemistry, and also I did for short term in Indian Institute of Cerebral Palsy in Kolkata on a course on being a special educator. So kind of blend of everything. But I also did my MBA from Northwestern Kellogg School of Management. So my executive MBA in.
You are simply amazing, Lopa.
So that was, but I don't know what my MBA is doing with my non-profit now, because kind of while I was doing my MBA, I resigned actually from my job for the non-profit.
Dr. Lopa, you did your PhD in India, you came to Arizona, did your postdoc here. So after that,
where did you work? How was your job profile? And how did you find like working in both worlds?
So here I, after Arizona, I did my postdoc in Mayo Clinic and on cancer, breast and pancreatic cancer, metastasis and targeted therapy and everything. I was here in Charlotte at UNCC, University of North Carolina at Charlotte. So I joined as a research associate, then as a research assistant professor, associate and research professor. And and here my work was, so I had my grant from national, my first grant was from Department of Defense Breast Cancer Research Program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, as a principal investigator, and deciphering the link between arthritis and breast cancer. And that work of many years, it got press release in 2012 from American Association of Cancer Research. So
Wow.
it was a breakthrough research, and also I'm thankful to my mentors, as I said earlier. You know, like they have played a vital role too.
So you have been working on a very prestigious project.
Yes, yes.
So it got funded from
Department of
government
Defense.
yeah.
Yes, yes. And then I also worked as a research director at the UNCC spin-off called Oncotab, developing all the we had the antibodies and trying to find out if that could be a biomarker for the with the breast cancer. Just simply take the blood and run it and see that if we can detect if the cancer is present or not. And my other projects were on pancreatic cancer too. From 2000, I moved here in 2008 through 2017.
Okay.
Like I have been at UNCC, and it was and luckily I was also having grants from, as I said, DOD and also from National Cancer Institute as a principal investigator, working on different important, like with breast cancer, triple negative breast cancer, and finding out different ways how we can not only detect breast or pancreatic cancer, but also target the tumor cells and downregulate the spread to the distant organs. So those were the vital ways that I was working, and it was very, I mean, I loved it. Research is something that I can never let it go from my system.
Were you teaching during this as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because my teaching life started in India itself, in Garden City University. I think as being a teacher is one of my rewarding moments when I see my students flourish and in different places. And here also I used to teach, because I mentored undergrad students, PhD students, even the postdocs. So yeah, so definitely teaching is always a part of me too. Yeah.
So Lopa, you were a very busy professor working here, research and everything was going on. So when did the idea of resigning, first of all, and starting something like BCH, Breast Cancer Hub, which is your baby?
Yes.
How did this idea come to your mind, and tell us how this process has been for you?
Yeah, I think it was not a one-day thing, Gauri. I would just kind of mention about an instance in childhood. I was 12, and as I said, my father was a pediatrician. He always spoke about breast milk for the moms, right?
Yeah.
To give, but that's the best that one can give. So growing up, I always heard him talking about it. And when I was 12, one of my friend's mother passed away. So when I went for the funeral, even to utter the word cancer, it was a big taboo. No one wanted to mention it was cancer. Then even so as I said, I was a curious child all the time, and I asked cancer where, and then after a lot of resistance, one of her friends mentioned breast cancer, and I said, breast cancer? She's like, shh, I'm not supposed to talk about it. So I felt so sad, I'm like, this is the respect we're giving to a mother, the disease that cost her life, and we can't speak about it. And when in my higher education, but one of the professors passed away from breast cancer, the family said it was brain cancer. They didn't want to mention breast because their daughters will not get married. So these were instances which built within me. And I also did my MBA from Kellogg in 2017. So in 2017 June, when I would go to Chicago on the weekend, one of the professors, he asked to the full cohort the dream project. And I mentioned that I really want to bridge the gap between developed and developing countries by providing simple, sustainable solutions. And it got huge support. And it was more I would say, Gauri, it was more like a calling, And that's when, honestly, even today, I don't know what forced me. I always feel that something was there that pushed me, and I wrote my resignation letter and I just sent it to the chair of the department. Everyone was shocked because when I resigned, I had my grant from National Cancer Institute as a PI. So that was like, I was at the peak of my career, but I felt that if I think of my career, I would never be able to execute something which I believed in myself will help make a change, at least help save lives. And that's when I just resigned. And I think the decision was to go pro bono. It came with, like, when I thought of starting the non-profit.
When did you start?
In 2017. 2017
Okay.
September.
Okay.
I did the registration, I think in August, September, and I launched it at Kellogg on October 20, 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Lopa, tell us, up till now, what all different kinds of projects you have done under BCH?
Yeah.
What are the ongoing ones you guys are doing now?
I started with community outreach because that was my idea. The strategy was we have to go to the community, but first and foremost, like through network and collaboration. I always believe in working together.
Mm-hmm.
So the starting point, the tagline we have is together we save lives, because as I said, I cannot do it alone. We have to come together. So through network, I got connected to different groups, within India, and what I did before that was develop simple solution, because we have to give a solution to our community, right? I just can't go and give lecture and then I'm gone.
Right.
So what we did was how to break the taboo. First thing I thought was men get breast cancer too. With men, the scenario is worse than women. Men feel it's a woman's disease and they are more shy to talk about it. But because of the rare statistics, we do not speak about it. So when I thought about awareness and the screening protocol to develop, I made it inclusive in addition to the LGBTQ plus community. With the trans women, because of so much of hormones and everything, their breast cancer rate is higher and they're not even aware about it. So my awareness strategy was inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, also we have to provide a solution. So I collaborated with the male breast cancer organizations in US, with the breast cancer surgeons, and we developed breast self-exam card. And first time we have for men also, with lot of pictures, because showing that how to do the examination step by step.
Okay.
So when we first developed that, my next agenda was, if I'm going to my country, we speak different languages.
Yes.
And then not everyone understands English, and I had to tap into the underserved, underprivileged sectors too. So what we did was, and I owe it to our volunteers. So we are a volunteer organization. So many of our BCH volunteers, they stepped up, and even my other network of friends, we have it in 27 languages.
Oh,
and
wow.
not just Indian languages. It was an Italian, German, Chinese, Uzbek, and Persian. So many, and all from scratch. No Google Translator.
Wow.
So I had that resource with me, right? So that was my strategy. So then I went to India. I went to the community. Urban society equally needed it, because I did the sessions, seminars or outreaches for the most educated sectors of physicians who are not gynecologists, who are not oncologists. Even they do not do the screening mammogram, which we are supposed to do after the age of 40, or ultrasound, because mammogram missed cancer, so 3D mammogram is the to-go. But 3D mammogram is not available in India. Mm-hmm. So I tell them to do mammo plus ultrasound, so that it can close the loop. It's not about education, it's not about the financial situation, it's about our culture. So we had to tap into everything. And that's when the breast self-exam cards worked very well. So when I gave that, so many people, like from when I started off in 2018, I had 30 outreaches planned. From 30, when I boarded the flight back after 3 months, I think I had around 140 or 50 outreaches done.
Oh, wow.
In the US, what I do is I have this brochure which we give out to the community, and we have the QR code. So we can scan it, and then it takes us to the page where we can download in 27 languages. We also, then what happened next, Gauri, was that people started to reach out to me with different cancers. And I couldn't say that, no, you are not breast cancer candidates, I'll not going to help you. So that's how we started to work with different cancers, and we have BCH Wings Cancer Hubs. So for that also I thought, like, what can we provide a simple solution? We started to create cards, picturesque cards with illustrations, signs and symptoms of different cancers. So next what we did was, Gauri, was the villages adoption. So one program was outreaches, and this outreaches was not restricted to India alone. In US, in North Carolina, in India, Africa also, Sierra Leone and Nigeria. But then in India, we penetrated deeper. So villages adoption, it came through, like, I was in a tea garden in 2019, and in the tea garden, one girl, she came to me after my session and she asked me in Hindi, "Aap mere gaon pichle saal kyun nahi aaye?" Because my mother just died. She was only 40-year-old and the girl was 18-year-old, because she was so shy to mention, and she did not know. It was ignorance also, because why otherwise a mom will keep quiet, right, if she had known it was cancer. So I told her I couldn't save your mom, but no other moms will die from your village. And that's how the villages adoption started. And that is so detailed, and that's how we differentiate too, because we have created a framework where I build a team from the villages. And when I say from the villages, the village girls who are not able to complete their education because they have no money, they're tea garden laborer's daughter, or from a Manipuri community, a woman who is not able to sustain her family. So the teams are built from the villages. They go door to door because we train them. Then next step what we faced was, when my team was going door to door, the issue was they had no food. And the COVID came in. So we started to provide food, because if they're hungry, how are we going to talk to them about screening? So we took a holistic approach. Next, when they understood that, okay, signs and symptoms, and they were complaining about breast lump or cervical cancer symptoms issues because of the hygiene condition, or oral cancer, the next point was, we told them you have to go to the doctor, the healthcare. They didn't care, because who is going to take them to the hospital? Because they're daily wage earners. So we had to strategize at every step. So every time I'm constantly monitoring and mentioning from here, right? So when our team told this, I said, we have to take them to the hospital. And our team stays the full day, because the government aid is available, but the villagers are not even aware about it, because they don't even go till the hospital. So we make sure that their health card is available, but then to go there and to be diagnosed, all the expenses BCH covers. Then we complete their treatment, we bring them back home, we again follow up with them, because to follow up also they will have no clue. And in addition to the all the impacts of side effects, we take care, like teaching them exercise, because when we have breast surgery, we have lymphedema, the arms are swollen, how to do that. So that came the villages adoption, right? So just imagine community outreach, villages adoption, community screening in Sierra Leone and Nigeria. The poverty is beyond our imagination, and mostly everyone is detected late. And so we do the screening in the marketplace, where there are a lot of people, and we kind of do the screening within the market. We create a place there. Then all the suspicious cases, BCH funds them. So now I spoke about community outreaches, screening in Sierra Leone, Nigeria, villages adoption. Another thing what I found was, when I would go to these places, I would meet women with breast cancer or any other cancer, and their family would say, I wanted to interview them. Their family would say, no, my mom doesn't want to speak about it. It happened many years back. And it started in 2018 when I first went. So I would sit with them and I would say, I would be desperate. I said, I just want to speak. Let me talk to them. And you cannot believe, Gauri, I would sit like this, right? And the woman, I still remember, she told me, one lady, no one asked me what I was going through emotionally. I had no one to talk to. My hair would fall. My family didn't even say that it would be cancer. So I was not even prepared. So the emotional turmoil as a woman, what she went through, no one discussed with her. And that was the inception of support group. The way I did it was in the rural areas also, created in person, but I also have a very private WhatsApp support group, and which is applicable for everyone. So now anyone in Charlotte detected, they reach out to me. And so everything we do, 80% of the work that I do, Gauri, is all anonymous. because it's all patient privacy, and I don't want to disclose anything, right? But that support group is built with trust. We have oncologists in the group, we have survivors, we have patients, and basically this group is like anyone from US, Africa, India can reach out and they can be a part of that support group. So what I do as a support group system is that I analyze their report, I do one-on-one with them, and everything free. So it's like a second opinion they get from BCH and me. If they want to be, I add them to the support group. So in India and Africa, financially we are also helping, but then in the US we cannot afford with the financial support. But in addition to outreaches, in addition to treatment guidance and support group, we also have care package. So every step, like, it's more like a wholesome way we are trying to complete the process. And first time we have for men also. And who made this are our expert seamstresses from Charlotte, from Concord.
Nice.
And that also was magical. I wanted to do something like this for our patients across USA. We ship it to them. Someone reached out called Deborah in I think 2022 or 23, and she said that she wanted to stitch, and I was like, I can't pay because we are a volunteer organization. She said, no, I want to just do it for charity. And that was the starting point. Then Pam joined in, and now we are so creative in Concord, they stepped up. So we are making it in bulk, that we are sending it to hospitals across US too. We are donating in Atrium, and all our BCH patients, we are shipping it to them. So we make this heart-shaped pillow with a pocket, and we have it for, as I said, for men also, for different genders, for all genders. So the reason for this is, the reason why we have a pocket, we can insert ice pack or heat pack, and post surgery we can use it under our arm, like for as a healing process, because many patients told me that they don't have a pocket like this, it's difficult for them to strap an ice pack. So when I first thought of it, it was for breast cancer patients, but my thyroid cancer patients wanted it. The colon cancer patient said we can also insert ice pack and use it, there's no harm in that. So every cancers we are giving it. Next, what we made, Gauri, is a very and everything that we made is basically based on the feedback of our patients. So you can see here, Gauri, this is a small pillow, right? You can hold it. It has a strap. So when we go through chemotherapy, and it's applicable for all patients, and anyone who is watching the podcast, if ever anyone is diagnosed in the US, they just have to reach out to me and I will send it to them. So here we have, when we go through chemo, there's a port. So for infusing the drug, the chemo, and many patients said it hurts them when they wear seat belt. So we made it so that we can strap it around the seat belt. It acts like cushioning. Then many patients also said that it hurts with the knitted hats. So they wanted something nice and which is soft. So we specially ordered this kind of materials, and you can touch it and see it's so soft.
It's very
it's so
very soft, very beautiful.
And then just imagine our expert seamstresses. They take the time to design them, and in addition, from our BCH clubs, my students, they make the artwork too. So every care package, I tell them that every patient needs to feel special. So they do this artwork. This is like their service project, and it goes in the care package. So when someone receives it, they explicitly tell me that they were so thankful that someone had taken the time to draw something, and every card is unique. You will never get it in any shop. And I have the do's and don'ts, like what to write for a cancer patient.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful message she has written.
Yeah, so everything is thought through. And in addition, then we also do research. Our research is IRB USA approved, India Ethics Committee approved, and also Sierra Leone, Nigeria approved. So now the research is more at the grassroots, the epidemiology study, the clinical data analysis. In US, more focusing on male breast cancer. So wherever I'm seeing the gaps, the research is now focused on that, so that we can bring the actual status of the scenario with cancer for all type of cervical, oral, breast, or all type of cancers to the community, to the scientist forum, and to the like all the physicians, oncologists forum, so that we get more attention and help with the change of healthcare policy.
You have to work with doctors continuously.
Continuously,
right? In all, like for your screening, for your support groups. everything,
So
right?
basically, for the support group, like medical treatment guidance, even I do that, and also the other oncologists. But when it comes to treating them in the hospital, I have to work. So when we are adopting the villages, we are also, my first thing is, when I decide to adopt one village, I have to first meet the healthcare system. So that
Yes.
they have to know where we are taking the patients, right?
So connecting your
yeah,
patients to the doctor
yeah,
as
so
well,
we are,
right?
our team is only doing it. So we are
Very
only
nice.
taking, and then the report they send it to me, so
Okay.
that I can also review and guide them. Like even in the US, I'm reviewing the reports and I tell the patients, ask this to your doctor, because
Okay.
for example, immunotherapy, targeted therapies. So being a scientist, I have been working on all this, right? So it becomes easier for me to go in depth and help the patient family, so that they know that what exactly they can mention to the doctor. And basically the real reason is for the correct treatment guidance.
You have visited so many places, so many remote places. So, have you ever had any, challenges, personal challenges, especially when you're traveling to remote places like Africa, Indian villages, and all?
Yeah, no, definitely I had. So, and but I do not mention anything on the social media and all, because I don't like to draw sympathy. But the first challenge is, of course, the safety, because I travel all on my own. But I also work in the areas where terrorism is also high, in different places, very interior. But I mean, I feel that way, that if, and even in Sierra Leone, Nigeria, safety is very bad. But I feel that if I think of my safety, then someone has to do it, right? So that's the reason why in those untapped areas no one goes. But if someone doesn't go, then how are we going to help them? So that's that's how I think about it. So it's not that I didn't face. The other problem issues I face is the diseases, like high risk, life threatening diseases that I
Yes, when
can
you're,
contract.
you said you're traveling to Africa, so I think
So once I come back to my home, like for the next 2-3 weeks, I'm always thinking that I hope I don't get fever, high chills, or any infection. At one time it happened, one infection went through my lymph nodes, and it was like really bad. So I had to be on antibiotics, everything on earth the doctor gave me.
Dr. Lopa, do tell us, how does BCH funding work?
Yes.
And I know you do a big fundraising event in October. You call it Oktoberfest, right?
Yes.
So do tell us how that works.
Yeah. So I love Oktoberfest. I think it's a way Charlotte comes together and celebrates. The month also is a breast cancer awareness month. So it's called Oktoberfest. Is our only annual fundraiser we have, executed by Breast Cancer Hub. There are other ways also people donate. Like for example, I really want to mention, like there are a few musical groups. For example, every year since 2021, Junoon, Sima School of Dance, they always pick BCH as their charity of choice. So that way there are some other groups. One time Ritu Mukherjee's group did too, and Sima's has been consistently doing over the years. 100% of the donations goes to the donor's bucket of choice.
Okay.
So for example, while donating, there can be underprivileged villages in the developing world. There'll be a bucket underserved in the US, then patient care package, then community outreaches research, and an admin cost bucket. But when we don't get much of the donation in the admin cost bucket, and also because whatever we get, it goes mostly for the for the fees that we have to pay, or the website domain, and processing fees also many times are not covered by the donors. So that way. But for example, for my own travel, my husband, I'm grateful to him, he sponsors, and one of our board of directors also, she every time I go, then she makes sure that she donates only for my travel. She mentions that. So that's only times I can. So what I want to say is, we are very careful how we are executing the fund. And for the Oktoberfest, whatever we are raising is going for the other 4 buckets, not for the admin cost, because it's people's hard work, and they all want it to be driven towards the mission and vision of BCH. How Oktoberfest works is a framework that we created, and we call it as giving stalls. We do not call them as vendor, because they are giving stalls, and it's executed by our BCH volunteers. So
Okay.
I do not allow GoFundMe by my students. I tell our volunteers, for example, they have stalls like food stalls. It's their leadership too, and it's also like many students basically entrepreneurship too. So many kids, they started their entrepreneurial journey through BCH Oktoberfest.
Oh, wow.
For example, they may be making something like lotions, or cosmetics, or like making cupcakes or certain things like that, or they create their own names of their giving stall, and whatever proceeds they want to donate, they give it to BCH. So there is no hard and fast rule over there too. We do not charge a single stall to set it up. That is also differentiating factor. So anyone can come and set up a table. End of the day, whatever they make, whatever proceeds they want to give, they donate it. So yeah, so that's how our fundraising works. And we do not everything is audited by the CA, the CPA, end of the year, and is published on our website.
Everything is very transparent.
Oh, very transparent. Yeah, because as I said, our own expenses, we are all volunteers. The only remuneration who gets are my village teams, because they are themselves below poverty line.
Yes.
And I handpick the girls, and it's their part-time, and because of that remuneration, it may be 7,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees per month. The girls are able to complete their education. Otherwise, they didn't even have 300 rupees to pay for their college in the government fees, or women who are able to sustain their family. So they are the only ones, because we directly do the work. That's another difference. Like, we are raising the fund doesn't mean that we are giving it to someone. We are directly executing the work, because we are executing it in USA, in Africa, and India, and globally through our hybrid model. That doesn't need any fund. Like the support group and the treatment guidance, we are all doing it free.
Wow. So, Dr. Lopat, tell us about the different student volunteering you provide for all the kids here. I know they are a very active part in BCH.
Yes.
So, do tell us about it.
Yeah, and I love my students. That's the first thing. They are my torch bearers. That's how I see them. I feel so proud of them when I see them working with Breast Cancer Hub with the passion. They know they will get volunteer hours, but I see that they are not doing it just for volunteer hours, because they really want to give back in a meaningful way, and that's how I've structured the volunteering opportunities for the students. Being a STEM organization, it really helps the students who want to be in different areas of STEM in the future, right? So the way I did is that I've created, for example, ambassador program. So what it means is, it's a 3-hour mentorship training that I give about early detection, screening of patients, and everything, the screening protocol for not only breast cancer but other cancers, or also the etiology of cancer, how cancer happens, what are the driving forces, then how we can prevent cancer, the risk factors. So once they receive the training, they become BCH ambassador. So once they become the ambassador, there are many community outreaches. For example, maybe during the month of Easter, we have invitation from groups like, can you come and set up a table booth for BCH? So at that time, my student ambassadors do that execution. So it's not only about executing a particular outreach program, but also its leadership. It's also their communication directly with the community in a very articulated way, but talking science, and then they mention about the care package to the community, about they give the, they have the brochure, they talk about the screening, how to download, and in addition, they also mention how the community can reach back to me. So for example, my students did an outreach in Concord International Festival, and I'm talking about not this year, even this year they did, but last year when they did, within 1 year, I had 15 cases from Concord, those who attended from different ethnicities reaching out, and they mentioned that they were detected early because of this community outreach, because of the screening protocol they received, because they were all very young, they were not in the age for screening mammogram. So this is the impact of the volunteers, students. In addition, we have the Oktoberfest, which we mentioned. That doesn't need to be, they do not need to be an ambassador for that. So they can definitely have the giving stalls, that's entrepreneurship for them. They can execute it, then they donate the proceeds. It's a full approach that they get, through being part of the giving stall. In addition, during the Oktoberfest also, or many other events, we have just a volunteer opportunity just to help with the logistics in Oktoberfest, with the management of the Oktoberfest. So over there also the students are involved. So it basically helps with their career development, but also they feel so good, and they know how they can give back in meaningful way. And most recently, since 2024, we started to have the BCH clubs. So we have BCH clubs in different high schools. So, it's their leadership, their initiative. So they become the presidents of the BCH clubs in the respective school. They form the officers and they have club members, and we do different activities. We definitely have the awareness. We also have the pink bag assembly. One service project is assembling the pink bag, which also has the wristband, which has 3 different colors: pink for breast cancer women, blue for men, and light purple for all cancers, all genders. We also have, remember I mentioned about the care package where the cards are being made.
Yes.
So all these cards are being created artistically by the BCH club students. And also BCH club students, I told them if they want, they do like creative fundraisers within their club.
So, Dr. Lopa, are you planning for anything new, like new projects for next year, apart from your ongoing projects?
So recently, I think I missed mentioning that we developed a BCH app. It's called BCH Know Your Breast Monthly Reminder, first time for all genders and first time in 27 languages, in collaboration with UNC Chapel Hill Computer Science Social Good Department. And they did it free for us, of course, but it was their project which helped them for their own career development too. And we are so blessed that they came forward, to do it for us. So maybe we will have additional, more modules for that. But ongoing, everything that I have mentioned earlier, we will build up on that: more patients, more villages, more outreaches, more, and also with the research expand at the grassroots more. But one thing that I am thinking of is, so we have support group, in-person meet and greet in the developing countries, with the rural sectors. And what we do is a lot of fun, we meet for chai, discuss and have fun. But here in the US, I collaborate with other groups for the meet and greet, but I'm thinking of starting something soon, like in the coming years, specifically like a symposium or conference just for the patient and caregivers. Over the years, we started BCH Bravest Hero Award for our cancer patients who are our BCH patients. They are and they are also helping others. It inspires them. So we will bring them also in the picture for the event. And we also have survivor stories published on our website. So we will add more to that. So yes, so overall want to focus more on the patient advocacy and give them more resources so that we can help them in the long run.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Lopa, for sharing all this information today. Do you have any take-home message for our viewers?
And I really want to thank you for inviting me again. So as a take-home message, I would like to say that early detection is the key. It's high time we break the breast taboo, we break the cancer taboo, and everyone needs to step up for themselves and their loved ones. And I cannot do this alone, right? We all have to come together for the bigger purpose, because if we are united, then we will be able to make a bigger impact. And because even if we save one life, we are actually saving a family.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much, Dr. Lopa, for all your insights and the amazing work you and your team are doing all across the world, I should say.
Thank you.
And thank you again for taking out time today for Kaleidoscope. And wish you all the best in all your.
I feel so blessed to be connected with you and Mr. Anmol. So everyone, So I'm grateful actually. I think that's what I feel, that challenges come every day, but I'm so grateful to God that for helping me to connect to the amazing souls who are helping to take it forward. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.